Welcome to the Lowdown Podcast, Episode 1, your new home for the untold stories of sports, presented by Lojo Media. I'm your host, Lauren A. Jones. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. This is a podcast that I started because I have a lot to say, first off, and I want to shed light on the amazing things that athletes and influencers are doing both on and off the field. So, I wanted to also share my journey as a young Black journalist navigating this wide world of sports. Be sure to follow at the Lowdown Podcast on all social media platforms. And now it's time for Lojo's Week in Sports. Every week I'm going to share my thoughts on breaking news, as well as some of the games that I've covered that week. So this week, I covered the Clippers versus the Trailblazers on Tuesday, and it was the first game after Blake Griffin was traded to the Detroit Pistons. Now, news broke earlier this week when Blake was traded, and to be honest, I was shocked. I mean, I never thought that a player that was supposed to be quote-unquote franchise, I mean, they never gave him that tag, but, I just never thought that the Clippers would be without Blake. Chris Paul, maybe. DeAndre, maybe. Lou Williams, okay, expendable. But Blake Griffin, 6 years, with the Clippers, 5-time All-Star, it really shook me. And I think it shook him as well. You saw him tweet the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I was like, oh gosh, it's crazy. But I think it's just a cautionary tale of two athletes that, there's no safety in the sports business. And no trade clauses are definitely necessary if you're going to ensure some kind of safety net. I think I was most confused by the fact that they re-signed him to that 5-year deal in the offseason, and then only to trade him, before the trade deadline. It's like, maybe they wanted to make sure that the season ticket holders were going to renew their ticket sales for this upcoming season. Obviously, the NBA is about the bottom line. You have guys that are businessmen like Steve Ballmer at the helm of the Clippers organization. But a great point was brought up to me was that either way, Blake was not only a personality on the court, but off the court as well. So that locker room was so uncomfortable. I'm going to just tell you guys, after the Trailblazers game, you could just tell that the energy was different in there. All the guys they lost, so that was another reason maybe why there was not that much, going on. But it was definitely a different atmosphere. They had covered up the Clippers banners, because Blake is one of the premier guys. They had changed the starting lineup, intro video, just awkward, But best of luck to Blake. I'm going to miss him and miss covering him in the Clippers locker room. So this morning, though, LeBron James, there was a report that LeBron James has interest in meeting with the Golden State Warriors. Now, I'm not a fan of super teams. I am a diehard Lakers fan. I'm just going to put that out there. And the whole Kevin Durant to the Warriors already pissed me off. So this report just further confirmed, that I just hate the Warriors. I do. Mm-hmm. And the fact that, LeBron is deciding, or even the report coming out, that just kind of pissed me off. And now Stephen A. Smith said this morning, this is fake news. Whether it's fake news or real, LeBron needs to come to LA. So, he already had his kids enrolling in school, or looking at schools rather out here this past off season. And I would lose respect for him if he decided to join that team, if they made room for him and I would lose respect for the NBA. I go back to when the Lakers were in talks of getting Chris Paul. It's still a sore spot for me, I'm not going to lie. It's years ago, and I know things, we've all moved on, but I'm just saying, that kind of reminds me of that, if they can't do it, if we can't do it, the Lakers can't do it, then nobody else should be able to, okay? But without further ado, I have some amazing guys, LA homegrown, in studio, and I want to introduce one of them right now. Joining me in studio, LA's very own Casey Veggies.
What's going on? How you doing?
Welcome to the show. Thank you for being a guest. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
So when we caught up this past summer at the Drew League, we spoke a little bit about your passion for basketball. Yeah. What are your thoughts on the whole LeBron to the Warriors?
I don't think that's going to happen, honestly. And I think if it did happen, it wouldn't really be fair. But I mean, I know how the politics of the NBA goes, so, you know, you never know. But I don't think it's going to happen.
Fair enough. I hope it doesn't happen, honestly. We need him in a Lakers uniform, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I thought it would be fun to play a game, being that you are a rapper, RocNation artist.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you a news headline, and then you're going to give me a few bars. The first thing that comes to your mind, just freestyle.
Jeez.
You ready?
Yeah, I guess so.
Here we go. Okay. So I know that you're a Lakers fan.
Yeah.
When you hear the young trio, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and Kyle Kuzma, what comes to mind?
You said when I hear what?
The young trio, that is the Lakers, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and Kyle Kuzma, what comes to mind?
I think they're going to take over. I think they're going to take over for sure.
We're going to see them in the Rising Stars Challenge.
Yeah, like that's what I think of, Rising Stars, the new freshmen taking over, you know what I'm saying? Game over. That's how I feel about them three.
Can we get like one line? just. I mean, we have to have you as the rapper representing LA.
The three new stars in the city taking over.
Yeah.
About to take over, get a game of makeover.
Ooh,
You
okay.
already know what it is.
Hey, that young Veggies. Okay. Yeah. So the next topic, I'm going to have Marcus Martin join us, offensive guard for the Cleveland Browns. Thank you for having us. Thank you for being here, rather.
Thank you for having me.
And, you know, we just want to ask you, what are your thoughts on the Lakers right now?
I love the Lakers. I'm a diehard Lakers fan. You know, I'm born and raised in Los Angeles, so for me, the Lakers is a staple of my whole existence. And I'll be very happy if we got LeBron.
Definitely.
For sure.
Definitely.
For sure.
Well,
Okay.
you're, Crenshaw graduate, went to USC, and this past season you spent with the Browns in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
What was that transition like?
I'm going to be honest. Being a kid from California and moving to the East Coast, being alone by myself, it was a major change. And it was something that, you know, I had to grow to love. And not only do you have, like, the culture shock, because out here everything's like a boiling pot. In Cleveland, everything is kind of segregated. So you have to learn kind of the rules, and you give yourself kind of your own orientation, like how to act and how to carry yourself out there. As far as the season is concerned, you know, playing for the Cleveland Browns, I actually believe that they have a very good football team. Okay. You know, I think that a lot of the components that was missing was kind of just in the leadership area. And you know, like
are you speaking of coaches?
I mean, I'm just saying like just leadership, like just amongst from up top and on down. Like I just think it wasn't enough leadership. Okay. And you know, when that team has a leader, I don't think, you know, like their record is going to reflect what it did this season.
There were a couple of close games. I remember when you guys played the Chargers, it was, you know, you guys battled back. It wasn't like it was just blowout after blowout, you know. Right. So I think that there's a lot of hope for them. No, but from a non-winning team to the Super Bowl, I kind of want to get you guys' opinions on the Super Bowl is going to be in Minnesota, so a little bit of that weather from Cleveland. Yeah. And it's going to be the Eagles versus the Patriots. First off, who's your favorite team? You're going to say the Browns because Marcus is your friend, right?
The Browns, they stepping it up for sure. They got Marcus now. So
right. Double M's right there.
I mean, I don't really have a super favorite team. I mean, I'm rocking with the Rams because they LA for sure. But
okay.
I always like the Chargers. I like the Redskins. Tampa Bay is dope too.
So he just every team under the sun. NFC, AFC.
Right. My cousin D Jack, you know what I'm saying?
I feel it.
So I rock with them. I rock with the Browns. You know what I'm saying?
Is it more of like allegiances to players rather than a team?
Yeah, I'm not big on picking a team with the football. Like I just like all the teams. They all like. I'm a fan of all the teams. Really, it's not Fair enough. A super. I ain't picking sides too much.
So who do you have winning the Super Bowl this
year?
Some predictions.
I mean, the Patriots always figure out a way, but I feel like the Eagles been having a great season. Like this day season to kind of show what they made of, and they haven't really won no Super Bowls lately. So I feel like
they've never won a Super Bowl.
I feel like they really want it. Yeah, they never won one, so I think they really want it. You know what I'm saying?
What about you, Marcus?
Patriots. I never bet against the Patriots.
I know you can't, right?
You can't do it. It's it's not a smart thing to do.
As a Seahawks fan, I honestly I've learned my lesson. Definitely.
They polished, but Eagles might never know.
We're gonna see.
All right. Well, the other topic that I wanted to discuss with you guys is USC centric. Marcus, you went to USC, as I mentioned, and played at the Coliseum for the time that you were there. They recently changed the name to the United Airlines Memorial Coliseum. What are your thoughts on that? What's your reaction to that?
Kind of like my perspective on it is just we've moved into an area where business moves football, whether that's at the collegiate level or the professional level. So, I mean, understanding that, you understand why the name was changed. From a tradition standpoint, we kind of tossed some of the tradition out the window. And, you know, I think it's disrespectful to a lot of people like myself and all of those who came before me that worked so hard to create that identity. And to have the Los Angeles Olympics there,
right?
You know what I'm saying? To all the talent that USC brought through,
right?
Like, you feel me? It's just
countless.
Yeah, it's disrespectful for sure.
What about you, Case?
I mean, in regards to what, like
the changing of the name. So now it was formerly known as the LA Memorial Coliseum, or nicknamed the Coliseum. But now it's the United Airlines Memorial Coliseum. You know, this whole naming rights thing that everything is kind of has a price.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of that decision at all. But I know how it goes with all these big companies. They buy out the other companies, and then it's kind of like out of people's hands. But yeah, I think LA definitely should have tried to keep that, the same, just for like historical purposes. But you know how it goes. Money kind of messes things up sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know that you guys are both in really successful positions, and you came from this area, the Crenshaw area, Inglewood, and I'm just curious, like when you first got on, when you signed with RocNation and you're opening for Jay-Z, what are those moments like for you? Do they still feel surreal?
Yeah, definitely. I look back at certain things and certain milestones I reached, like it was a blessing. A lot of stuff happened so fast. It was crazy, like meeting Jay-Z when I was in 12th grade in high school. He flew me to New York. And then like right after that, when I graduated, I went on tour for about 3 months. And a lot of stuff just happened fast. A lot of people, like my peers, it's crazy like to see it, like running the Marcus again and just seeing him on a whole nother level. It's like it's a blessing to see all of my peers and homies doing their thing and everybody figuring it out, getting on their grind. And it's been like 5 years since we've been out of high school, so we all on the right path.
I keep forgetting you guys are so young. I'm like, 5 years.
That's not a lot, but you know what I'm saying? I graduated 2011,
right.
So it's been 7 years.
Yeah.
So, it's been a crazy journey. I've been blessed to like not have to. I tell people all the time, like, I never had to really get like a job or anything. I always was able to follow my dreams and like do what I love to do. So that's kind of what I try to like represent, just like inspiring other kids. And like I know now, when I was rapping at 18, everybody was young, but now it's like a whole nother generation of kids that's coming in that need to hear some positive stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just working on my new album, ready to, give everybody something.
I was just going to ask you, we know that you're in there cooking.
Yeah, I've been going crazy for sure.
Have you been into the studio with him before?
Yeah, actually, we just left the studio.
And I didn't get them. Just because I was here, right?
You should have pulled up.
I should have pulled up. I'm trying to get an intro song for this podcast, so we're going to be in there cooking for that.
I'm doing the vocals on there.
Marcus, I've heard your vocals before. Give us a little sample. The Lowdown Podcast. We ready?
Not going to happen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you heard the flat. Happen. That's great. Well, Marcus, what has it been like for you, transitioning to the NFL, being that you come from such humble beginnings and you're now here in this position?
I mean, I wake up every day and I say I'm blessed because a lot of people from this area, don't make it out. They don't have the opportunities that I had. And they have no motivation in life. Nothing encourages them when they wake up in the morning. Like, I'm so blessed beyond measurable belief because I know that it's nothing that can stop me. Everything that I went through to get to the NFL made me who I am, and I'm so thankful and I'm so blessed. It's like I still can't believe it sometimes that, I'm 24 years old, 5 years in the NFL, the youngest dude drafted when I got drafted. And, it's just taught me a lot about life and experience and how one person could really affect the dynamic of your whole family, whether it's for the good or the bad.
What's one of the biggest learning lessons that you've kind of had along this journey?
A lot of people think that money solves problems. You know, that if I got a lot of money, I don't have to worry about this. You know, if I got a lot of money, I can run off and do this. Like, money, to be honest, solves zero problems. It only creates more problems. And, you know, it sounds funny coming from somebody with a little bit of money, but it's the truth, because before I ever had money in life, everybody around me was happy. You know, we figured it out. We made a way. Using from food stamps, you know, when we upgraded to EBT, like, everything was good. Mm-hmm. When you get some money, everybody feel like, okay, like, how can you help me? And it's like, if you ever really thought about it on a like a large scale, if I helped out everybody who asked me for help, how much would I have in my account?
Right.
Like,
I'm going to ask you to purchase one of these $20 hats afterwards, but, you know.
That's a thought that, you know, I can handle.
Okay, $20.
When everybody asking for a handout, it's just like, man, this is
How
crazy.
do you handle that, guys? Like, I mean, I'm not in that position. Nobody's asking me for anything, okay? Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, she broke. Yeah, we know. No, just kidding. But, like, how do you handle those situations?
I mean, it different ways, I guess you could say. I mean, you got to learn your lesson somehow. A lot of people tell me, like they used to always tell me, Casey, you too nice, bro. Like, you always be, like, welcoming everybody around you, everybody in. But, like, that's just how I'm raised to be, just, like, open arms, you know what I'm saying, show everybody love. But at the same time, it's like you got to learn, like, showing everybody love, it don't always help you. You know what I'm saying? It can slow you down. So I had to learn that the hard way sometime. But, you know, it's cool. I feel blessed to be able to show people love, help people out, and do what I can do, you know what I'm saying, to just, like, tap in with everybody, with the culture, with all the young kids in L.A., all the young dudes doing what we doing and, like, following their dreams. It's important that we don't, like, act like we bigger than people. Like, that's one thing I never wanted to do. And
I can tell you from firsthand experience, you're not like that at all. So,
Like, I never wanted to be like that no matter what. Like, I was with Jay-Z. I was with any rapper. I know every rapper in the game, but it's just, like, I always appreciated my real friends, you know what I'm saying, from the city, and the homies from the city as well, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, no matter what rapper I met, I always, like, you know, I'm still Casey, no matter what. So,
what was the first big purchase you made, Marcus?
I bought a Porsche. Oh. Yeah, that was my first big purchase. I remember writing a check like, oh my God.
I'm telling you.
This is $110,000 that is going to leave instantly. Like, as soon as I walk off, it's done. It's gone. I'll never see it again. You know. So
how did that feel? I can't even imagine writing a check for. I think like
at 20. I mean, I was hot, so it's cool. Like, yeah, sign my name. Now I'll be a little more hesitant to spend $110,000 on a car.
Yeah, definitely cautionary tales of, you know, NFL players, especially with not guaranteed contracts, going, you know, broke 5 years after they've retired and stuff. Do you ever have any concerns about that?
I never concern myself too much with it because I come from good values and I know how to handle myself. Mm-hmm. I'm not one of these guys that have to be in competition and drink this and eat this and look like this. Like, for me, I like getting dressed. That's my own. I like getting dressed and wearing shoes. Other than that, like, I'm not out here. You'll never see me with 1,000 chains. Like, this chain is the same chain I had since my rookie year in the NFL. Like, my money is tied up in investments, and that's the best way to move. Like, people don't really realize that
he's giving you the lowdown right now.
Investments at a young age is the best thing you can do because it's only going to pay off as you get older.
We're going to have to do a whole another episode of your fashion fits because I see you on Snap.
Oh, you know, man, it's real light, you know.
All the new shoes. I'm like, oh, can I get that plug? Do I have to come to Cleveland or what's that?
Everybody in the 300-plus club, I'm setting the standard right now.
You really are, though. Well, I really appreciate you both taking the time and being my first guest on my show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
For sure, yeah. Thank you for having us.
And let's actually get shouts out to your Instagram, your social media, Twitter, all that good stuff where people can find you.
Yeah, you can catch me on Instagram and Twitter. It's at Casey Veggies, CASEYVEGGIES.
Veggies.
Website, CaseyVeggies.com.
Hey.
Easy, PNC.
Yeah. That's right.
You know, you can find me at The Real Double M's, The Real Double MS on Instagram and Twitter and Snap. Follow up, show love.
Well, appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Keep going. Keep
I appreciate it.
Keep killing it.
All right. Well, now I'm going to transition into the next segment, which is #facts. So every week I'll kind of share with you guys a tidbit of Black History Month facts because it is Black History Month, and I did this purposely. And it'll intersect with Black history and sports. So Doug Williams was the first Black quarterback to win a Super Bowl in 1998. And it was 1998 rather. And it was against the Denver Broncos. So that's just a quick fact. I think that we should all be learning, more about our history. It was something that's important to me. And especially with the Super Bowl coming up, I knew that was a timely event as well. And then next is shot callers. So every week, you guys, I'm going to shout out my shot caller of the week. And this is just big baller brand status. As you can see, I have on my Mount Rushmore, LeVar Ball, Magic Johnson, Oprah Winfrey, and myself. Yes, because I associate with all of these people. And basically, I just want to highlight people that are doing amazing things, like the guys that I just had on the podcast, both Casey but this week is a special woman. She's actually already in my Mount Rushmore, and that is Miss Oprah Winfrey. She celebrated her 64th birthday, and look at her. Go on, girl. I mean, she's my idol. She, created a whole lane, and, I always think about when I heard that at 19 years old, she was fired from her first job. I mean, somebody fired Oprah, right? So if that's not inspiring to all of you, then I don't know what is, okay? So I just wanted to thank you all for tuning in, for watching, for listening to my first episode. I'm going to keep this every week. You'll see a different guest or host, something new. And thank you so much to my guests, both Casey Veggies and Marcus Martin, for joining me on the first episode, donating your time, and dropping some gems, giving us the lowdown. You can catch the Lowdown podcast every Thursday from 7:30 to 8 p.m. PST, Pacific Standard Time, on morrismedialive.com. Shout out to the studio for having me and allowing me to use a platform to try to just inspire others, especially young journalists like myself, who are just trying to make moves in this industry. It's difficult, okay? If you missed any parts of the show, you can catch them on my YouTube, youtube.com/Lojo Media. You can also catch them on SoundCloud or iTunes, both at Lojo Media. And again, I'm your host, Lauren A. Jones. Follow me on social media at Lojo Media. Thank you guys for your time, and thanks for tuning in.